And here's the thing, like, these are the dipshits that are always arguing for free speech. But whenever it comes to freedom of expression, these guys shut it down immediately. Isn't that interesting? That's really fucking interesting. As I said before, let's look at this Skeleton Crew video. Like I said, I have not seen Skeleton Crew yet. I will cover it on the podcast, so I will see it over the weekend. But you know what? Eric doesn't watch this shit either, so let's see what he has to say about it. Two moms, Star Wars Skeleton Crew. Are there two moms in that? I don't know. We'll find out, I guess.
Things are at least about to get a little interesting here. I obviously haven't seen it, but I've seen.
Yeah, I have it. Obviously, I haven't seen it. Man, I don't know. Would it kill you to actually engage with the media you're going to talk about, bro? Like, is that too much to ask? If you're going to do a channel where you talk about media, that you actually sit down and take the time to actually engage that media instead of reading fucking articles from fucking Fandom Pulse, no less. Fucking John Della Rose garbage. Are you serious? And yeah, it's about episode. I don't even think episode 3's out yet, is it? They just released the first two episodes, and I don't think episode 3 is there yet. Let me double check that. Actually, I'll just bring up the Disney Plus app and see what it tells me. In case you're wondering, I just put it up on there. We got 2 episodes. 2 episodes. And they're talking about what's going to happen in episode 3. Film threats Chris Gore, spoils Star Wars Skeleton Crew, goes full woke in episode 3 with LGBTQ propaganda. Yeah, any site that frames anything like that, you know, is full of fucking shit. But okay, let's go ahead.
Seen others that I respect as far as their opinions talk about everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Mixed. Some have even said that it's okay for what it is. Obviously, it's supposedly targeting the younger people, which look, whatever, trying to get hold of the younger generation. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. That said, we know what happened with Acolyte and how it fell off a cliff in the third episode, when everything really got really weird in Acolyte, was it?
Yeah, episode 3. Yeah, episode 3 was the turning point in the Acolyte. Yeah.
Oh, please. I'm sorry. These guys were hating on it from episode 1. Episode 3, the Acolyte, was kind of bad, in my opinion. But these guys are acting like, oh, we were kind of on board until episode 3. No, you guys were railing against it, and episode 3 just fueled your fire. It's that simple.
Okay.
I do love how they try to rewrite the past sometimes. Like, we were giving it a fair shot, then episode 3 came up, and that one sucked. Go fuck yourself. You hated it from the beginning.
So it looks like we are going to have a throwback here, because our man's Chris Gore said this. He says, I agree the Skeleton Crew is fun and solid Star Wars show for kids. In episode 3, you'll meet the parents and learn one character has 2 moms.
Oh! How can I show my children this? I mean, how can a character have 2 moms? Oh my god. That's going to warp their perspective. Like, pretty soon they might think having 2 moms or 2 dads is like a normal thing. Or maybe even having non-binary parents. Oh god. Oh. And then they'll warp my kid's brain. And then they will think they live in a world where they can express themselves freely. Oh my god. No, this shit drives me nuts. I swear to fucking god. So what? And here's the thing, like, these are the dipshits that are always arguing for free speech. But whenever it comes to freedom of expression, these guys shut it down immediately. Isn't that interesting? That's really fucking interesting. Oh yeah, and they always talk about how, like, gay the Acolyte was. Like, Osha and May. It's May, right? Osha and May. They had 2 moms, and that's it. Not even major characters in the story. They appear in 2 episodes, and that's it. Oh, yeah, what a gay fucking story. The fact is these guys are just triggered by the simplest stuff because it makes them money, because they can sell it to the outrage to their audience and make money and push this culture war garbage to their audience.
Of course.
They just can't help themselves. Modern messaging must be inserted no matter what. I've preferred that they kept
modern messaging, like gay people existing. Yes, that's I won't even call that modern messaging. That's just normalizing life. That's just normalizing life.
the parents out of it altogether. So I'm not gonna speak for our man Chris, but it does sound like that it was a needless thing that was put in to obviously check the box. And I think we all saw it coming. Now, I think
A needless thing to put into obviously check the box. The gay parents box. He always brings this up. So like number one, this is massive here. He is judging a piece of media without watching it. Because I'm willing to bet you it just, they'll reference the parents but won't be like anything substantial. I would still argue that's good because it normalizes the idea that, someone you may meet may have two moms, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just normal. But number two, like Eric here doesn't even fucking engage with this shit, so it doesn't even matter. And again, they're just selling outrage to their fan base. Who, if you guys are watching this, you're gullible little shits. Stop it. Stop accepting the garbage that guys like this push. Just stop it. These guys are lying to you. If you want a better life, if you want to, I don't know, meet a woman, if you want to have a better life, start focusing on the actual issues instead of people who are easy targets.
it does say something that's just a tad bit more disgusting. When you're dealing with general Star Wars things, that's whatever. But when you are specifically targeting young people, I will say it does get almost a little more despicable. Like, hi, yeah, I guess.
And Eric and I got into a debate about this. God, that was a while ago. But yeah, he seemed to think the idea of kids knowing that gay and trans people existed was he seemed to think that was bizarre. And then when I cornered him on it, he seemed to think, oh, well, it's not because they're gay or trans. He just doesn't think kids should know that there are couples. And then I asked him, okay, so it's okay if they know their parents are a couple? And he's like, oh yeah, that's different. It's like, so kids should just think their parents are the only couple in the world and that's it? And then yeah, he had to backtrack because yeah, it's a fucking stupid stance. And and when they try to ignore the fact that they're obviously being homophobic or whatever, they will backtrack and be like, oh no, I just don't think they should know about any coupling. And it's like, well, what? Like the kids grow up knowing their parents are a couple. And when I say coupling, I'm not talking about sex ed or anything. I'm just talking about two adults who live together. And in this case, raise children together. That's it. I think it's fine. I think it's fine if children know that. Oh shit. Let me go and pull this aside. Grand Theft Auto bot. This is a clip that I pulled a while ago that I've never really had a chance to use.
Stop it. Get some help.
Yes, I've been meaning to use that drop, and you just had to reference it.
Say I'm over this stuff. This is gay and retarded. Wouldn't want any of that in a show.
No, right there, he uses gay and retarded as insults towards the show. Classy stuff.
But on the other hand, when you talk about something that's targeting youngsters, it's like, okay, well, that seems a little more, or let's say this, people's minds are going to go towards where mine is. And that's like, That seems like that's on purpose.
Of course.
And it would be in line with what we've already seen from.
You can't accidentally have same-sex parents.
That's a good point.
You can't. It's not an accident. That's not an accident. It's not like you go, but we just made those parents same-sex. No, because the parents, a man and a woman. So you have to make a concerted.
Well, perhaps it's adoption. Maybe only one of them's the biological parent. There's lots of variations here. As you know, there are parents that are man and woman who don't have biological kids, possibly because one of them is infertile. That is a possibility as well. There's all types of variation, and the important thing is that they have two parents that love them. Not every kid gets that, but every kid should have that.
Effort to make them not a man and a woman.
Yeah. It's purposeful. It has to be done. It's like inherently because it's abnormal. And I'm not saying that in any other way other than literally, right? Because obviously,
because I'm not a homophobe, guys. I'm making a big deal of this, but I'm not a homophobe. I'm just pointing out it's abnormal. He has to use the term abnormal. You know, if I wanted to talk about something like that, I'd probably say the term atypical, something with not as much a negative stigma attached to it. But yeah, it's abnormal, guys. Being gay is abnormal. Classy, Eric.
Same sex can't have children unless they're buying them off of people, right? So this is something that's purposeful. This is something that they wanted to make sure was high.
Everything is purposeful. It's a fictional piece of media. Everything was written and filmed. It's all purposeful, Eric. The fuck? Like, what is your point?
Highlighted. And again, it's like, again,
I just made that point. I just look at Chad and Dean made it probably like a few seconds ago. It's like, yeah, it's all intentional, bro.
And I haven't seen it. I don't want to speak out of turn here. I'm not saying that I have seen it, but if what Chris is saying when he said,
oh my God, has he watched it? He's acting sensitive right now. I'm not saying I see it. I don't watch it. I haven't seen it. I'm not saying I see it. I wouldn't see it. But it's like, Eric, did you watch it? Why are you acting all defensive over it? I'm not saying I would watch it. There's nothing wrong with watching it. In fact, I would say you should watch the media that you're going to engage with. You absolutely should. Yeah. Yes, Grand Theft Auto, but I don't care about this stuff. But I'm going to make a video and go off on it for like an hour and a half. You know, why not? But I don't care.
saying he preferred that they kept the parents out of it, if that means that, again, it's more of forced, which it inherently, as pointed, inherently has to be forced for it to be.
It has to be forced. What does forced even mean in this context? Because it's a fictional story. Everything is forced. Like, what the, like, they use that term all the time. What the fuck does that even mean, bro? It's forced. Yeah, it was written. It's written and filmed, bro. It's forced. It's intentional. What's your point? So what? The original Star Wars was forced. What's your point?
Be there in the first place. Again, it's much of the same stuff, which, again, I don't think they've learned jack shit. But what is your assessment of something?
Well, what are they supposed to learn, Eric? That they shouldn't have gay characters in their franchises because bigots like you will yell and scream about it? Because I'll go ahead and tell you a secret, Eric. What you're doing right now is free publicity for Skeleton Crew. Your audience may not watch it, but then here I am going ahead and talking about it, and maybe people who weren't interested in it are learning about it and be like, maybe I'll check it out. So congratulations, Eric. You're going to act all offended for Disney, but you're doing promotion for them. Good work.
Something like this happening in Skeleton Crew, which is something that, again, is targeting youngsters.
Yes. Youngsters knowing gay people exist is fine. And that's the thing, like, a lot of these guys like always equate this shit to sex, and it's really fucking weird. You know, gay people and trans people exist, and it has nothing to do with fucking sex, bro. They just fucking exist.
one of these apparently characters have is it a main?
Yeah, he is tap dancing around it because a lot of these guys don't want to actually like they don't want to treat Skeleton Crew quite like the Acolyte because the Skeleton Crew stars kids, and they get in trouble for that if they start targeting kid actors. That's pretty fucking gross. I am still offended over Rags a long time ago in one of the videos he did addressing me, where he called the young actress who played Leia, he called her like a dumb bitch or something like that. And it was just like, fuck is wrong with you, bro? Jesus Christ.
Character, whatever, you'll learn that one character has two moms. What's the point?
I mean, you could argue it's tokenism, I guess. You could argue that, especially if it doesn't play any more role. I would still argue it's better than nothing, but sure. Like, I mean, what's your point? Like, why? Like, why does it matter? Like, if it ends up being just this extra thing, why does it matter who their parents are? Why are you so upset that there's a possibility in this episode that hasn't even fucking aired that one of the kids' parents will have two moms? Why does that matter?
The point is that the far left's woke ideology must always be affirmed that
So acknowledging that gay people exist is part of the far left's woke ideology. To the people seriously watching this shit is rotting your fucking brain. I swear to God. No, and that's part of the things that drives me insane. Like they like to throw these terms around: far left, communist, Marxist, liberal, I don't even know, but there's a few more, and they act like all these terms mean the same fucking thing, and they fucking don't. Fucking research shit. I swear to God. It's like anything that just acknowledges that gay people exist or trans people exist is somehow Marxist ideology. It's like, for love of God, take a sociology class before you throw terms around. I swear to fucking God.
every single solitary turn, it must be virtue signaled. Does it have any relevance to the show? No. Does it have it's
well, one of the kids having two moms being brought up would have relevance to the show. And you guys haven't even seen the episode, so how the fuck would you know?
there's only one purpose, and that's to say, hey kids, look, we're trying to normalize this sort of shit.
And what's wrong with normalizing that? Explain what's wrong with normalizing that gay people exist. Please explain it.
And it is a one-way political street. It's not a two-way. It's not a book.
What do you mean it's a one-way political street? Because if you're just talking about acknowledging gay people exist, that is that's not even really a political street. That's just acknowledging a fact. That's all that is. So you want to talk like we're not talking about like a, not acknowledging a two-way political street. We're talking about a fact street. And yes, one way is towards facts, and the other way is is towards lies and bullshit. And are you asking people to treat the facts equal to the bullshit? Because guess what? Fuck off. I refuse that.
Balancing, there's not a counter to this. The argument of the counter to this is never discussed. This is a one-way avenue of it must be like this, and you must adhere to this, and everybody.
No, as I already explained, you're trying to make it like it's left versus right. This is not left versus right. This is fact versus lie. And yes, we as a society should have a bias towards facts. It's that simple. Gay people exist. Acknowledging they exist is not bad writing. In fact, it would be bad writing to not acknowledge they exist. Because part of a writer's job is to just tell the story of the world as much as possible. it's good to infuse as much as in general with writing, infuse as much as the world you know about into what you write. And sometimes it's trickier when you're dealing with sci-fi or as Dean deals with supernatural westerns, but you still infuse the world you know into those storylines. The world you know includes gay and trans people. No matter what your thoughts are on them, they exist. And ignoring they exist, that's just bad writing.
Everybody in the world, including the Empire, will be stunning and brave about it. The Empire will have two men walking down the corridors of the Death Star holding hands in the next Star Wars film.
Probably not. Probably not. And you want to know why? Because the Empire's the villains. The Empire would be the bigots of the story, most likely. Just saying. Just saying. In this analogy you're making, as you would be the Empire, I'd be the rebellion. I'm just saying.
Because they may be evil, but they're not monsters.
Yeah, they're not.
You know, that type of fucking.
No, the Empire is kind of largely based on Nazi Germany. They're fascists. So they would probably not welcome gay people. I'm just throwing that out there.
So yeah, absolute nonsense that we're just. It's tiresome. It's tiresome. My face is tired. Can't help themselves. Of course they can't. I would be more shocked if everything was just normal. That's what would actually shock me. This doesn't shock me or surprise me because.
What do you mean everything just normal? Because gay people existing is literally normal. That's part of everyday life, that gay people exist. If you don't know that, it's probably just because people don't come out to you because you're a bigot online, bro. Just saying.
Disney, they have their out and open gay agenda, which they've admitted to. And
by the way, we already went over the episode, the trans episode of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur that was shelved because Disney does not have a gay agenda. They are rainbow capitalist. They will push this stuff as long as it makes them money, and the second it doesn't make them money or they fear it won't, they'll shelve it. Because Disney, despite what you guys like to push, it's a very conservative company.
And so it must be placed into all and sundry. The fact that it's in a kids' TV show, again, it's pretty insidious stuff.
For sure.
Can't have kids know about people existing and being happy together. Oh! No, these guys are so fucking they're so fucking bizarre. I don't even know, like, it's a frustrating thing because obviously we did have the election recently, and Trump ran his campaign on a lot of sentiments that these guys are pretty much saying right now. So this shit won an election, and that is something that I plan on fighting against because that is disgusting that won. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that they've pushed this online manosphere red pill bubble online to so many people. And I cannot stress this enough. If you are a fan, if you're about ready to write an angry comment or an angry chat, if you're actually watching live, just look at your life. Do you honestly think immigrants are making your life worse? Do you honestly think gay or trans people who do you honestly think gay or trans people are negatively impacting your life by simply living their life? Like, I mean, what do you think is more of an infraction on rights? You, as a straight cis person, occasionally having to talk to or encounter a gay or trans person, or that gay or trans person not being allowed to live their life as they as I hate saying this because I guess I'll just say as they wish. And I the reason I hate saying that is because I'm making it sound like it's a personal choice. And frankly, for a lot of these people, probably for all these people, it's not. Because if a person could choose to be cis and straight, they probably would. But the fact is, they live better, happier lives if they're not those things. And that should be supported. Because whether it's a choice or not, they are an adult and we should respect their life. And it's that fucking simple.
Because again, it's a one-way street. This isn't a conversation. This is how it is type of business.
Yes, when one side is filled with lies and the other side is filled with facts, yes, it is a one-way street. Get off the lies street and go towards the facts end of the street. It's that fucking simple as.
Yeah, it is insidious and it is fucked up. And I do think that's the part, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he is right. Eric is right. It's quite insidious how these guys push this bigotry onto their fans into nerd culture. It's quite insidious how these guys do it. Now, I know that's not how Eric meant it, but let's face it, that's really what he means. What Eric and Az are doing right now, that's insidious. That's disgusting.
That I think is, you may be tired of talking about it, but I mean, it absolutely has to be discussed. This sort of weird approach of trying to utilize children's material or the children themselves to validate the lifestyles of the adults. And yeah, that is, you have to be a really piece of work in order to act that way. But this is the world that we unfortunately live.
To acknowledge that gay people exist, you have to be a piece of work. It's an interesting take, Eric. I'd love to discuss that with you sometime, but I have a feeling you don't want to do another debate with me. If the ending of our last debate was any indication, I have a feeling that is something you desperately want to avoid.
Live in where these people are out and proud in doing that. It is worth discussing, and it is fucked up, and it is something that is purposeful. They're doing it with an agenda in mind. It's not a secret, and I think you're going to get much.
An agenda in mind, an agenda to normalize facts. What an insidious agenda. I mean, just to give you an idea, like, let's rephrase this a little bit. Let's say Chris Gore says, there's a skeleton crew. Skeleton crew is fun, but there's going to be a thing in episode 3 where it's revealed that the Earth is round. And then Az and Eric are going to get all offended because they're pushing the round Earth agenda, because we all know the Earth is actually flat, and it's normal to think the Earth is flat, and they're trying to push the round Earth agenda. And they're going to act all offended over that. But we all know it's a fact that the Earth is round, and they're literally just getting offended that they're just going to introduce facts into their story. It's that fucking simple, and it's that fucking insidious what they're trying to do.
Much of it in future Disney content. They haven't learned jack shit. Nothing.
The very fact that they can't help but put this dog shit in is just eye-rolling stuff.
So gay people existing is dog shit. Okay, that's a take, Az. That's a take. Okay.
Because this isn't something which builds tolerance. It's something which builds resentment and contempt.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's called a fucking self-report. Gay people existing builds resent for you, bro? Dude, that's a problem. If just knowing gay people exist builds resent in your mind, that's fucked up, and you should honestly seek help. I don't know what else to say. You should seek help.
Because what builds builds tolerance is when it's used sparingly and at the right moment.
So apparently this, what Chris Gore is reporting, that is just one of the kids' mom has two moms. I don't even know if those moms are characters. It just introduced that they have moms. So that would be pretty sparingly. And again, we haven't seen the episode, so we don't know what we're talking about. Like you're talking about needs to be used sparingly and at the right moment. You haven't seen the episode. Maybe it fits that definition precisely. I would argue there's no issue with introducing it, period. Just period. Just knowing gay people exist. Fine, cool. Let's roll with it. Because they do. They fucking do.
And with the right character as well. To just have it willy-nilly.
With the right character. How come you don't have this standard for straight characters? How come straight cis characters don't have to meet this standard? Listen. Did you hear on Skeleton Crew? They introduced Jude Law in that series. And you realize in that series, he's playing a cis straight white guy. And I want, why are they introducing that? Why are they introducing that? They should only introduce elements like that sparingly and when it's appropriate, when it's the right time in the story. And instead, they're just giving us this cis straight white guy. And, it's not the best way to introduce it to children, because we're talking about children watching it. And they need to get properly introduced to the concept of straight cis white guys before you just shove it at them, guys. No, seriously, that's the argument they're making, except obviously they're making it towards gay people. But you can make that argument towards straight cis people too. The fact is, straight cis people are more common. But you can make the exact same fucking argument. It's fucking bizarre.
Thrown in absolutely everything.
Yeah, you're right, Wow. Because, the Jude Law character, it's forced. Because he's not the right character to be cis and straight. It's not the right time for this in Star Wars, guys. It's not. It's such a dumb argument.
That makes you feel out of context in the world, out of context in your universe, that doesn't make sense to the story that you're telling. Just literally looks like we keep saying.
Exactly. His character is cis and white and straight. And does that make the best sense for the story they're trying to tell? Have they even thought about this? Clearly they haven't really thought about this, and they just introduced this cis straight white guy into the fucking story. They haven't thought about does this really service the fucking story? It's really insane how Disney just pushes this straight white agenda. It's pretty fucking disgusting. And they're on the record of saying that they're pushing the straight white agenda. It's pretty disgusting, guys. It's pretty disgusting. I'll just be continuing to make the inverse argument of these guys because both arguments are equally fucking stupid.
Virtue signaling, which is what this is.
That's what it is.
Will those parents have any impact on the story? No. Will their relationship have any impact on your...
Good point, Dean. Statistically, most people on Earth don't qualify as white. So why are there so many fucking white people in Star Wars? That's really fucking abnormal. Come on.
Emotion, how you feel about... No. It will have absolutely zero whatsoever. But thankfully...
Again, you haven't seen it. You haven't engaged with it. You have no idea.
It did tick the box that they need to have ticked through their...
Yeah, this is Eric's argument about ticking boxes. I think he made this argument to me about, Miles Morales sucks because he's ticking boxes. Which doesn't even tell me why it sucks, per se. So, as long as the character is well written, I don't care if they're ticking boxes. As long as they do a good job with the character, tick all the boxes you want. In fact, ticking those boxes and doing a well-rounded, well-written character, I would say that's even better. Go for it. I would say the best way you write characters like that, like if you want to write a gay character, the best way to do that is to have a gay writer, a skilled gay writer writing a skilled gay character or a gay character, because they're going to be able to infuse their life experience into that character and make it more relatable. Yeah, I mean, these guys are literally just talking about ignoring reality because they don't want to get exposed to gay people. And it's not even like they're going to get exposed to gay people because they're not even watching the show. These guys are a fucking joke. I don't know how else to say it.
Internal requirements, just like the melanin levels of the crew, just like the gender of the cast as well, just like the fucking pronoun, all of that. It's all box ticking crap. And yes, it kind of looks like maybe a TV show ish. 10 out of 10. Star Wars.
Yeah. Look, to your point, it's not.
I mean, I know what his argument is, but I don't know where he went off on 10 out of 10 Star Wars. Very few Star Wars I would actually give a 10 out of 10 out to. But I mean, you know, I mean, it's weird. They do like to put like the original trilogy and now even the prequels on this pedestal, like they're these flawless fucking movies. They're not, especially those fucking prequels. I'm sorry, those prequels. I don't want to be a dick because if you like the prequels, I don't want to shit on your parade because there's lots of people who've grown up on the prequels now and appreciate them. I don't. I think the prequels kind of suck. Revenge of the Sith's okay. I mean, I would probably argue Phantom Menace is a bit underrated, but it's still not good. Yeah. That my Star Wars take there.
I don't think anybody's under the impression that this is going to put butts in the seat of the next Star Wars, or which I think would be the intention, right, with a show that's like this, is to try to get some of the younger audience and turn those, obviously those audience age, and then they become fans of Star Wars. I think that's obviously the goal.
What was your first Star Wars?
Well, it was not one that was specifically like targeting like young people, right?
Okay, what was your first Star Trek?
It was not a cutesy children's oriented Star Trek.
Right.
I like how he keeps on changing the goalposts. So his first Star Wars wasn't one oriented towards modern audiences. His first Star Trek wasn't one meant for kids. So fun fact, Star Trek has always been super political. Always been super political. Star Wars has actually been somewhat political as well. I mean, there's that great clip of George Lucas talking to James Cameron, talk about how he modeled it after a lot of it when he was building up. It was like about Vietnam, and the rebels were the Viet Cong, and the Empire was the United States. That's what was partially his inspiration into Star Wars. So arguing that this stuff like has no political implications is kind of insane. But let's go ahead and see if there's an actual point to keep on asking, what's your first Star Trek? What's your first Star Wars? In case you're wondering, my first Star Wars would have been the original movie, and my first Star Trek I don't remember what episode, but definitely an original series episode. Or it might have been one of the original series movies. I don't remember. I was so young, I don't remember.
Because once upon a time, children were actually treated with a little bit of respect.
Yeah, they weren't treated like they were retarded.
Yeah, they weren't treated like they are fucking just, retarded kids.
Yeah.
It wasn't making...
What makes you think this doesn't treat children with respect? Why would having one of the characters have two moms mean that they're not being treated with respect? What the fuck are we doing? Like, what argument is this as? Okay, we'll let him finish it, I guess.
Nickelodeon TV shows. Those existed, but things like Star Trek, Star Wars, other TV shows.
This is all a good point, yeah.
So wait, is he just upset because it's a kids-oriented Star Wars show? Because if you don't want to watch a kids-oriented Star Wars show, then don't watch it. And to my understanding, you're not watching it. So who gives a shit? Who gives a shit, Az? You don't want to watch it. Don't watch it. Fact is, Kathleen Kennedy actually has a fair amount of experience with working on like projects like this. So it kind of makes sense to kind of maybe now she's running Star Wars to channel some of that experience into that. And it's not even like Kathleen Kennedy's writing it or anything, but like It's not outlandish considering there is a big kid fan base for Star Wars to do something maybe a bit oriented for kids. I mean, how many Star Wars animated series are there at this point? Now all of a sudden there's a live action one that's more oriented for kids, and that's really offensive. Why? Again, don't watch it, and apparently you're not, so why do you care?
Were written on various levels that can be appreciated by children, could be.
Oh, so it should be written well enough to be appreciated by children and adults. You're not watching this. How do you know it's not being written to that level? You are judging the writing of something you have not engaged with. Your opinion is invalid.
Appreciated by young adults, could be appreciated by adults. It was written in such a way, but that's called good writing. Nowadays, they think they need to create a Star Wars for a child. Well, the Star Wars that I saw for a child was called Star fucking Wars, right? And the Star Trek that I saw that was for a child was called Star Trek.
Okay, that was kind of an irrelevant point. Guess what? The original Star Trek and the original Star Wars still exist. If you want to watch them and show them to your kids, they are there. You can go check them out. And again, if you are a fan of these guys, reflect on your life. Do better. And frankly, I'm kind of done with trying to baby you. Like, if you want to get angry in my comments, go ahead. I'm kind of done with babying you. If you're actually listening to these guys and thinking they're telling you good life lessons, reflect on your life. You're doing something wrong. Do better. You can do better. I do believe you can do better, but you're not going to do it by listening to these dipshits. These guys are just pushing you down an angry hole. And I cannot stress this enough, because I feel a lot of this gets related to it. Like, a lot of you guys who are fans of this content, seems like you have trouble getting laid. You want to talk to women? Don't ingest this stuff. And try talking to women like a normal human being. Don't talk to a woman and be like getting mad over gay people existing or women taking jobs or immigrants. Just talk to a woman like you're her friend. Hell, build a friendship. Most of my relationships start with friendships. It's that simple. You talk to a woman almost the same way you talk to a man, and just build a friendship. And then if you decide to take it to another level, mutually, you do that. That's like 99% of relationships out there. I swear to God, it's that fucking simple. If you are just focused on sleeping with a woman, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not. And that's my advice to people who listen to this chud content. That is rotting your fucking brain. You can do better. Watch something else.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.